Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Howdy.
You think they missed us?
Y'all, listen, we have a lot of big news, and Margot's been right in the middle of it, and we've had phone call after phone call telling us to get our ass back in the recording booth, and here we are.
It's been a short, long summer.
Yeah, it has been. You mentioned my hair's straight.
I was going to say that. I was like, look at you. You look like you're a teenager.
Oh, okay. Hey, not hating that. Yeah, I'm doing these straightening treatments, you guys, and getting rid of my signature do.
Really?
Right? Yeah, I'm going to try to. You know how it is when you have curly hair, though. You've got to straighten and...
I do not. This is not natural curly hair.
Okay.
No, I'm not like you. The higher to God my hair is, the better off I am.
The bigger the hair, the closer to God. Isn't that a Jersey Shore saying?
No, hell no. It's from Steel Magnolias.
Oh, it is? Okay, what's the Southern thing then?
Absolutely.
Well, all eyes are on the South for the makeup of the Congress and specifically the House coming up in the midterms. 2 seats look like they're going to be very competitive. So we've had a lot. We haven't talked about a lot, but we've had a lot. So we're going to talk about Jennifer Balkcom, all about her because she is in your area. But tell us what went on behind the scenes of, we'll talk about Chuck Edwards in a second. I want to talk specifically about Balkcom because I love her to death. One of the most conservative people you could put on that ballot, the most in your area.
Yeah. So originally, when Jennifer Balkcom ran, she's from outside of Hendersonville. Mm-hmm. Actually, encompasses Bat Cave a little bit, that area, which was very severely hurt by, or had a lot of damage because of Helene. Originally, when the ballots first went out, the first time she ran, she wasn't on my list. She wasn't on my bingo card.
So the ballots for
originally when she ran for North Carolina House.
Okay, tell us how the process works. Chuck Edwards stepped down. We will tell everybody about that first. But how does it go? How does it work if a candidate is said to run, doesn't have a primary challenger? That would be Chuck Edwards. He spent two terms. Yeah,
he did have a primary challenger. He did. Adam Smith was his primary challenger. Okay, so this time.
Right, the primaries are over. Tell us what happened step by step, because you're in on it with the executive committee. What happened?
Well, let's start with, there was a primary challenger, and it was assumed that the primary challenger, Adam Smith, who got almost 30% of the vote, would try to go for Chuck Edwards' seat, but that's not what happened. So the executive committee put out the word that the seat was vacant. Chuck said he was not going to be on the ballot in the election, Chuck Edwards. And so that opened up the seat, and we had, I think, 6 candidates that came forward. And as an executive committee member and a member at large for the North Carolina District 11, we came together on several calls to organize and ensure that this was a fair ballot, that the nominations were done, smoothly, and that people that wanted to participate in the process were able to. And last night that culminated in a vote in Balkcom County at the Balkcom County GOP. They were so gracious. And I nominated personally Jennifer Balkcom to be on the ballot as the next congressional candidate for the Republicans, a historical nomination as the first woman ever to be on the ballot on the ticket, in November. That happened I don't really know what the vote count was. We do know it was overwhelming. And I know there were 51 executive committee members there to participate in the vote and a ton of press.
I mean, there was. This has been talked about all over the country. Everyone knows that I'm from North Carolina. I've been getting calls from California, New York, etc. It could tip the balance of the House. But fun fact, talking about women, so 13% of the Republican delegation in the legislature in the state house here, 13% are female. But Democrats, 58% of those that are serving are female. And when we say, and we mean, that progressive white women are a danger to us all, we're talking about North Carolina. Why do you think there's some batshit crazy things that come out of the legislature? I mean,
well, to combat that, or the antithesis of that would be Jennifer Balkcom, who in her first term in the North Carolina House as a junior House of Representative members stepped in the ring of fire and became and sponsored the Women in Sports bill.
We're going to go through the bills she sponsored, but check this out. 30 bills that she sponsored became law.
Yeah.
That's a 2-term legislator. That is a heavy hitter. Her legislative record places her firmly within the conservative wing of the North Carolina GOP. Out of 785 votes this legislative session, she broke with the Republican majority just once, and it was a minor traffic bill. So she's solid. Go ahead.
Originally, when she ran her first run, everybody made a big deal about the fact that she was a Democrat at one time.
She's a libertarian.
And then a Democrat.
But
quickly realized the Democratic Party left her. She didn't leave it.
But I just told her record. Right. Yeah. So she's got a record to run on. Adam Smith, great guy. I hope he continues to go in the party. Doesn't have a legislative record. We need someone very serious. Now, her early campaigning right now, it's right in line with where we need to be nationally. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But she's talking about affordability, public safety, farmers, and
she is a farmer.
She's a farmer, and continued hurricane support.
Yeah, I think the strongest part of her nomination speech, her candidate speech last night. Look, she's a soft-spoken lady. She's not, she's not hardcore. The two things that I felt really, really came out strong were I know who Jamie Ager is, and he knows who I am, and I'm not afraid of him, which was a resonating.
You don't hear her laying down the gauntlet.
Yeah, but you know what she said at the end, and that was the part that really got me. She said that part, and then she said, when it's something I'm passionate about, I'm not afraid to fight. And I was like, there you go. There you go.
So tell us about Jamie Ager, because he positions himself as here's what we know about him in Raleigh. He positions himself as a moderate. I haven't seen any Democrats campaign and do what they say they're going to do in terms of being moderate, except for Fetterman.
So Jamie Ager's grandfather, I think, was in the North Carolina House. I think he was a congressman. So he's got a long line of family that his brother's in the North Carolina House now. Eric, he's a radical. Jamie Ager swears that he's a conservative Democrat, that's an oxymoron. So
has no record to run on.
I mean, he has
no record to run on,
but
he does.
But he does have a large commercial farm, which he has gotten because they have taken other farmland from other people in various arrangements. So he's, the thing about Jamie Ager is that he dresses like a young lumberjacky kind of 90s grunge, tries to have that kind of attitude, even though we know he's
like an agrarian populist of sorts.
Yeah, he owns a farm called Hickory Nut Farm, which does an awful lot of beef sales, especially to Ingalls here, because that's the largest groceries chain. But, listen, I have seen him really around the district, but I wouldn't say heavily. And I will say this about Jennifer. This is still a +5 district, or 4 if you talk to some people, because they're negative. Anyway, if she concentrates on Haywood County, which is adjacent to Buncombe County, Henderson County, and Buncombe County, and really, really stays away from the Republicans a little bit. She has to say hi to them, but she really needs to work on the unaffiliated base.
Well, definitely. I mean, this is a Republican-leaning district on paper. Trump won in 2024 by nearly 9.5 points. But a lot of the election handicappers, Cook, Sabato's crystal ball, moved 11 to either a tie or a lean Republican instead of solid. So to your point, we have we've work to do. Now look, when we look at it on paper, now we know this is going to change overnight. Her state legislative campaign has $38,000 in the bank. Democrat.
Today. Tomorrow it won't, because
that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but her challenger has 2.2 million. I'm sure both of them are going to be getting just flush with campaign cash. The three things I just want to get out there to watch with Balkcom between now and November is how quickly she builds name recognition outside of Henderson County, which is what you're talking about, and also whether her state level recognition, because she's got a lot of it, does that translate cleanly into a federal campaign? I'm going to make the argument that it will in a second. And whether she can make Hurricane Helene recovery and agriculture in Western North Carolina a centerpiece. You think she can because she's a farmer, but she's also running against a farmer. So it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see a male farmer bash a female farmer. That'd be interesting. But I think there's another piece of this that people are not paying attention to, and that is the way she stepped into the ring of fire for girls is going to
let's say farming.
Just 1 second. It's going to gather the attention of groups like International Federation for Women, which is national. Riley Gaines has already thrown her support in. There's going to be groups that were not anticipated that are going to jump in and help her.
Well, with the farming thing, I didn't see it until today. Yeah. Many interviews with Fox News, even MSNBC, about her sponsoring the bill to ban China and Russia from buying up farmland.
Yep.
You were just talking about Jimmy Ager buying up farmland. Of course, he's not Chinese. I'm not alleging that, but yeah, well, it may as well be, right?
Yeah.
But this is something that polls outstandingly well. We know what it's like here in North Carolina to have a major farm bought. Smithville Farms was bought by the Chinese, by the CCP. So there's a lot of anger already for that.
Well, and we saw last night, immediately after the announcement was made, we watched to see, on Facebook and other places, what the Republican-leaning farmers would do, and immediately they congratulated her. They said this is a good thing. So we're looking to see a positive trend. They were going to go with Jamie Ager. I'm not going to hide that from everybody. They had given him money, but that's because they didn't want Chuck Edwards. I didn't either. I didn't vote for him. I was the one that got Adam to run. So
into him. Yeah, you did. I mean, no one's done more for this district than Margot. It does surprise me. We'll probably talk about it on the next show. The RNC leadership they put up in there, and I will be putting a piece up on that soon. But we all know Jennifer Balkcom for her taking a leading role. I mean, she was the one really that pioneered this through the legislature. It had been done the session before her. Tim Moore didn't have the juice to pass it. Jennifer Balkcom was elected and came in during her first term. She championed this. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, first of all, I need to step back and say thank you, Sloan, because honestly, we wouldn't have got that legislation to Jennifer had it not been for you. This is basically how we really got to know each other more than, hey, how are you? I called you on the phone and said, a girl in my district, in my school district, has been hit in the head by a trans athlete in a volleyball game, and you stopped. Normally it's like conversation. It wasn't. It was a very get me the information, and I got you the actual footage. And if it weren't for you, listening to me and really taking that story seriously about Peyton McNabb, we wouldn't be talking about Jennifer Balkcom.
Well, thank you for that. Teamwork makes the dream work. And, I'm proud to say through us working together and my reporting, we are responsible for getting 8 bills so far now over the finish line. This is one of them. This is a crown jewel for both of us. We've seen it up close and personal. My daughter plays lacrosse. Do not tell me that one boy on the field, and I don't give a damn if it's on our team or the other team, couldn't seriously jeopardize the health, safety of everyone on that field. So we know it, being the mothers of daughters, this was near and dear to our heart, but luckily we had a legislator that took our concerns, ran with it, passed the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, and, might I add, engineered a veto of Cooper's veto of that, which this is an issue that, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Don't take our word for it. This is late 2026 Pew Research Center. I think it's only grown. 2/3 of adults support policies requiring men not play in girls' sports. Another issue.
It is, and it's really come to a head, and I'm sure people have seen it. If they haven't, we should talk about the WNBA and how some very big pro male athletes are really turning the tables.
Yeah, because now we've got guys. Freedom, I forgot his last name.
Royce White, a #1 draft pick.
Yes. So men are going to go ahead and sign up for the WNBA. Look, use the rules, their rules, against them.
It's about time. It's about time some conservative men. Here's my hope and goal on that before we get back to this, because you know me, I have to go on a tangent. Let them get into roller derby. I'm just waiting for those big bubbas to get into roller derby because it's really most radical of all sports.
Those bitches do not play.
Well, I'd like to see a John Cena type in roller derby.
Yeah, well, there are some trans on the team.
A ton. That's their main thing. Let them all play.
Yeah. Go ahead. That will be a great test case, actually. Okay. So this is a bill. Basically, it just codified 2 genders for public policy. Why do we have to have laws that say there's 2 genders? Democrats. That's why.
Yeah, I remember living in California years ago, and somebody said, we're becoming a litigious society. And I thought, no, we're not. But here we are.
It's insane. Okay, restrict taxpayer funding for gender transition for prisoners. Now, we already have that in the state for minors. Yeah. That is another one. HB 808, pat ourselves on the back. That restricts gender transitions for 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, which unfortunately I had to expose what's going on in North Carolina with Duke, UNC, and ECU.
That's right. One of the biggest stories you ever broke.
Yeah, it was very personal for me because I grew up some in foster care, and I can tell you that when you don't have mentors around, what the government is able to do to you, there's no limit. And of course, there's parents that are being hoodwinked into doing this, or they're nuts. So protecting children is both of our esprit de corps. That's what we live for around here. So that was really good. Expand parental control over school library access and overnight lodging. Why do they have to do that?
I honestly don't remember. I think my daughter did do one trip. They went to the beach to go to a marine lab, which is a long drive. I think they stayed in Cherry Point area. But it's weird to me that we have to make a law that boys and girls don't sleep in the same room.
Right. What in the hell
is going on?
Yeah. I mean, you have any junior high or high school guy that can, you don't have to put on a wig. You just say, I identify as, you're going to have a lot of them doing it, and you have a lot of potentially sex assaults or allegations. Allegations of sex assault are also damaging. You get, boys in there that are playing pranks or whatever. They're keeping their hands to themselves. And there are going to be some girls that make stuff up. And because they've been in proximity of these girls.
Well, it's bad enough you got all these perverted teachers we're finding. And now you got to worry about perverted young boys, which are perverted anyway.
Girls need to learn how to defend themselves.
Yeah,
fathers, teach your girls. Mothers, teach your girls. Here's one that
we've been waiting for.
Still hasn't been passed. So this, guys, I don't know if you know this, but North Carolina is one of the few states that once your child turns 16, you are demanded to step out of the room, and your children have to give you consent to see their medical records, the medical records that you're paying for.
Listen, some health insurances were going as low as 13 and making them, kids get their own access to their insurance, which kids don't even know what that is.
Well, it's different states, but even New York says 18. Even California says 18. Now, I have heard that there's a particular Republican who happens to be a doctor, who is in a medical lobby, who is trying to prevent this. That's bullshit to me, because a relationship between a child and a parent is sacrosanct.
Well, and if you, as a parent and an adult who has a child who at 26, she's still my kid, she was still on my insurance. If you're taking my insurance, I should know what's going on. I don't really care what's going on, but I'm paying for it.
That's another, there are so many arguments. There's the moral argument. There is the
financial argument.
Parental rights, and there's the economic argument. Why am I paying for something that I'm not allowed access to? It's like they're like car mechanics. Sometimes most providers are good, but they're like car mechanics. Something's broken.
You don't know. You just don't know.
Well, and by the way, if some of these healthcare providers don't know that there's two genders, why am I allowed?
That's a big problem in North Carolina, believe it or not. I shouldn't laugh because
I know.
I'd say the one big issue we have is how taken over some of these boards, medical boards, licensing boards are.
It's completely woke. That hasn't been addressed. We're addressing it all the time. And our friends at Accuracy and Media are doing a lot of things around that as well. So stay tuned, because I love the video evidence that we get that some people are cutting up out here.
Wow.
So speaking of cutting up, you hadn't seen cutting up, honey child. Let's talk about the cutting up that Edwards was doing. In fact, I showed it. So now look, Edwards is what, 65? I get it. He's not a techie, but he knows if you put shit in writing, right? And your handwriting and stuff. See, here he is writing inappropriate messages to female staffers. And an interesting little nugget about him, he's got one of the highest turnover rates in Congress with 59% turnover in 2025. That's more than double the House average of 27%. He also passed over a female staffer. He had passed over qualified candidates to choose a female staffer who wasn't experienced at all. And according to the House Ethics Committee, they think they know why. And it is the ding-a-ling games.
He's a creep. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I didn't advocate for him. I wouldn't vote for him. I don't like his voting record. I don't like he's a social misfit. That right there. You just put
okay. And here's part of why.
Right there.
You and I were covering what was going on with Helene moment by moment, and we were trying to get the message out. We were trying to, Matt Van Swole and others were trying to get the message out. Hey, FEMA is not here. They're skipping over houses. They're not doing their job, etc. And Chuck Edwards got on this bandwagon where we were conspiracy theorists.
He tried to make us look like liars. And I was like, I will bury you.
Yeah, right. So this is really kind of what helped kick it off. Is here he is mocking us. I felt like it was specifically aimed at you.
Totally was.
Okay. That said, hey, y'all have heard the rumor that FEMA is confiscating Starlinks, which you personally were making sure everyone had in his district. But I'm not sure if you can now. He's for the FEMA worker. Everything's safe and sound. I tried to confiscate it, but look.
It was a poorly timed, stupid post. Considering that day, Joe, I think it was the day before that, Joe Biden had
the Harris campaign used Chuck Edwards and Tillis, by the way.
Correct.
Used them and ran with it, and they were actually featured in campaign ads.
Correct. And right at this time, and at the same time, Joe Biden put out a post that said, there's no issue with Starlinks, which pissed me off because Chuck was helping him with that. And there's Zeb Smathers, the mayor of Canton, out there saying, oh, look, you got me a Starlink. And I'm like, I have your phone number and the text messages where we put that out, you liar.
But he's making fun of his constituents.
Absolutely.
And nothing pisses people off more than that. And I mean, you let him have. I'm going to show you guys a series of tech. Let me tell you something. When you don't want to be in the crosshairs of Margot. This is just a bit of what you were saying. You're saying that he's out there, and he was out there trying to get every photo op with Trump while his false narrative was being used by the Harris campaign.
That's the time you tried to give him a French fry pin. What a loser.
Oh, gee, thanks. Well, he gave these women a lot more than that.
I know. He tried to pin him, but not with a French fry pin.
Oh, damn. Okay. These are the men representing North Carolina, but Chuck Edwards, and this you said before the FEMA debacle, before Helene even happened. So he's never been your guy.
No.
Ever.
He's a Tillis guy. I mean, Tillis literally paid for, Paul Shoemaker to try to take over from Madison. And the way they did that was so crappy.
Okay, so let's get to that too. Okay, so he's up there. He was in the House, just kind of like Jennifer Balkcom was in the House also. And he also had a record, and it wasn't good.
No, you gave us Paul Shoemaker and Tom Tillis gave us a worse voting House member for Congress than Madison was. And I don't care what you say. I don't care if Madison is out having parties every night. He voted 91% with President Trump.
He was accused of sexual impropriety with people in his office, though.
No, he wasn't.
Okay. That's called sexual harassment. This is quid pro quo, where a male boss uses his power to hire unqualified women.
You're right.
To kind of the letters I read, I don't know.
Oh, disgusting. I read them.
I'm 23 and 24. I'm feeling pressure to go along with this. Or
let's go to Vegas, but we're not going to do anything. That's one of the letters.
And you're dumb enough to write it out. I mean, I'm not suggesting, usually serial cheaters like this cover their tracks, and I'm glad he didn't.
Well, I just want to say one thing out loud. Teresa, his wife, is a very nice lady. And it is so unfortunate that he has done this to her and their family, because Teresa's the one that is suffering from all of this. The staffers are not being named. They're moving on. He loses his job and his McDonald's, and now he's going to have to fight probably, I'm just guessing, speculating, a divorce attorney. But
maybe.
But she doesn't deserve any of this.
Well, no, I don't understand. I don't understand what happened there. I don't need to understand what happened.
I don't either.
He
I don't care.
Down. I really don't, man. I really don't. We have other things to move on to. But suffice to say, he's gone. We have a fresh start.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia. Yeah, exactly. So look, in House 1, we've got another matchup. Now this was redistricted. It leans Republican, but it's kind of competitive. The new map gives us a substantial structural advantage, but Don Davis retains the incumbency advantage, the fundraising, and the national environment. So, while we just talked about District 11, it does lean Republican, but it's got high volatility. Okay. So
they've said it forever. The NC1 and NC11 are the bookends. And, while we're Republican, it's not really Republican sometimes.
Well, they're more populist.
Yeah, I would agree.
But as I said, I think the one advantage that Jennifer Balkcom has is she has been a libertarian and a Democrat and has the ability to talk about, she's run the gamut. But that might give her a better ability to talk to the needs of all of these folks. Common sense issues she's voted on and put forth.
And I think Lori Buckout, who's never served anything but the military, which is serving a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not taking anything away from her. Everybody knows that I had a, probably a sordid history with her in her first campaign. But you know what? When it was said and done, let me just tell you, Lori Buckout reached out to me and said, is there anything I can do for you during Helene? That's classy. I have not talked about her since that first campaign, and I will not, because she is running and we need to win.
Well, yeah, he's got some advantages. Davis he might be a stronger candidate, but I just want to lay it all out for you guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, Don has, to his credit, look, I know him. He's a great politician.
He's a good dad and a father.
Excellent politician. He's gone around for the last 9 months, and he's asked groups to come together, law enforcement, etc. Others. He's like, look, I know you don't support me, but I'm going to ask you for your support anyway. This is what I thought was kind of cool. I'm going to ask you for support anyway. And, here are the things that I have done that you might like. So here are the things, to be fair. He's denounced the administration's immigration policies. Okay. He funded Department of Homeland Security. Remember when, there's all that. And actually he went against his party in the Border Catastrophe Act. He voted for that. He was one of two, and the Lake and Riley Act. So we're going to be honest. And I believe he's going around, and I know sheriff departments where he's gone in, he's talked to them, and he's a likable guy.
Well, he's a moderate Democrat he's not nuts. He's not nuts.
Okay. Well, I might be able to change your mind.
Financially, on the financial side of it, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So I might be able to change your mind. I want to go through what he actually has done, because on abortion, he's insane, and a couple of other things. So look, Parental Bill of Rights Act, he was a no vote. That is a no-go for us.
Yeah.
This require schools receiving federal funds to make sure parents have greater access to their child's curriculum. That's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Secure the Border Act. So he disagreed. He's halfway. You can't be halfway on this stuff. This is a major border bill that, tightened asylum eligibility, which we absolutely need, expanded border enforcement, and required E-Verify. That's common sense. The Born Alive bill, he was a no vote. That is a no-go. Now, I'm going to tell you something. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Affordability is something that Republicans are throwing out, and I've not been able to see but a couple, two. Brian Echevarria comes to mind, but two, get under the hood and talk about what that is. And I haven't really seen any, but Brian probably, talk about his opponent's weaknesses. I'm going to tell you, if you're the Buck Out campaign, you better listen to me right now. He voted no, Don Davis, to an energy package that would increase gas, mining, and energy infrastructure production. So when your people are saying, hey, it's, $3.50 a gallon of gas. Well, my opponent was a no vote, and most Democrats, I think all of them, were a no vote. Now they want to blame it on what's going on in Iran. That is simply not true. It's a little bit true because you got the cost of per barrel. But if we are drilling and making energy available here, we're going to be able to offset that. That's the whole point of energy independence. Student loan. This is ridiculous. This is the bill that would nullify the Biden administration rule implementing its federal student loan forgiveness. Here's another thing. The number one cause of inflation is deficit spending, period. We have a huge problem here with this, what's going on now in the administration, not what they've done necessarily, but what they haven't done.
Yeah.
And it is when you've got all of this blowout COVID spending. Yeah. We are not able and fraud. We're not able to turn that back. That was a bolus of federal cash. Yeah. And to counteract a bolus of cash, you need a huge initiative that claws that back. We don't have it. So deficit spending drives inflation. That's why I'm seeing my Fruit Loops still at $5.50 a box.
I can't believe you eat those things. I don't even eat those things
every day.
Gross.
I need them at $3.20. I want to tell you something that really pissed me off. I went to the UK, to London, some other places.
I know what you mean.
I had Fruit Loops. They taste like shit. Did you know that there are 1,000 ingredients in the UK they don't allow there? But it turns out 700 or 800 of them are for tasting good.
And I've heard that you can't get red or pink Fruit Loops in the UK either. So because of the dyes.
True. That's true. I didn't care what color they were. They tasted like gravel.
Well, so listen, what you've really illustrated through this.
Well, there's more.
Oh, well, but
To say that.
That's the same thing Jamie Ager's going to do. Act
Okay,
like he's moderate and vote like a Democrat.
And look at it. Well, look at number 10. Strategic production response. He did it twice. And so, guys, when you're talking about this on a federal level, you need to be very clear. Energy independence will mean that a small Strait of Hormuz, right, that a bunch of wild-ass mullahs are not able to shut down our economy.
The world. It's not just us.
It's America, right? But it's America first. This is a U.S. policy that will allow more drilling in the U.S. So there's many factors in this, but if we're not independent, we're going to be under the thumb of these wild ass mullahs or go to war. By the way, there ain't but two options, people. Either we take them out, or guess what?
They take us out eventually.
They're going to control our economy.
That's right. And that's a takedown. One way or the other, you're going to go down.
That's the reality of the situation. So, Buck Out campaign, if you're listening.
Back to NC1. You got to watch. And listen, there were some more bills related to energy costs, related to what was going on the coast that he was a part of with Roy Cooper, trying to get all those ugly platforms out there.
You raised a great point. We need to dig deeper into the last 4 years that he was in the legislature here, and ferret out the stuff he did, because it was to the left. All of it. Right? Yeah. He knew with the congressional district that he'd have to moderate. But I showed you, he didn't moderate very much, did he?
No. But his perspective looks moderate, comparatively speaking. That doesn't mean it is.
I will say he has stood strong against the DSA. He said it belongs nowhere in the party.
That's a plus. But so does John Fetterman. John Fetterman says that and still votes like he's.
Well, I think it's less and less. I'm not going to defend John Fetterman, but
yeah.
Davis has a huge advantage money-wise. I want to talk about this. Today, Buckout has 3.57 million. Today, he has 4.29. I mean, it matters. But candidate,
though, because she ran before and had to take a loan out of her own funding. So
really
she's getting.
Wait a minute. I'm just getting ready to say a lot of it is from candidate loans.
Well, she did that last time.
The electoral environment currently favors Democrats. You know this as well as I do. During the midterms, it favors who's not in office. Trump's numbers are low. Generally, we look for more than 30, mid-30s, right? And he's polling right about where Bush was during his final term, when Iraq became an albatross around his neck.
Wow.
It's a close race.
On both sides of the state.
Close
on both ends. Really.
Let's talk about the voters that will decide it. So check this out. Black voters, which make up a majority of the Democrat Party here in North Carolina. Davis needs turnout. I mean, you are talking about he's going to have to have a full turnout. Turnout in a midterm.
Yeah. Same here. We're going to have a full turnout for Republicans to help Jennifer. So, I mean, it's opposite, but the same. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And so one little kink in this, there's a libertarian candidate. And I'm telling you guys, a libertarian here in Wake County. Now, I know this is just anecdotal, but they take 3% of the vote every damn time. I don't care who they are. Yeah. They shave our vote.
That's what happened to Herschel Walker. He, a libertarian, and literally cost him a seat.
Well, this guy in 2024 got 2.64% of the vote out there in that area. I don't know. I think I would be more comfortable with more polling before I said anything about one. Believe it or not, I don't know why there hadn't been more polling. We hadn't had any at the current matchup with 11.
It is interesting to me. It's kind of, truthfully, they've kind of kept it low key in the news. Truthfully, there's been so much news about our district, which is weird because that there's been almost no news about that district.
Well, you've got a scandal and you've got volatility.
But it's been continuous scandal, Sloan. We had Mark Meadows scandal. We had Madison scandal. We've had Chuck scandal. I mean, we're done with scandals out here. We would like to have a stable little.
Well, you've got a lot of stability in Jennifer Balkcom.
Yeah, I agree.
The hierarchy, here's what I'm going to say out there. It's like, here's the hierarchy. The Republican redistricted, they gave us the map advantage, but the environment does favor Davis. And so if Buckout cannot get out there and control the message, she's going to have a difficult time.
Yeah.
And it takes money.
A lot of money.
You got to put your money. And I think with Jamie Ager, he has maybe some notability. He doesn't have a legislative record. The legislative record that she has, it favors her constituents. They want that stuff. Correct. They don't want the CCP buying farmland. They don't want men in girl spaces. They want parental rights.
Yeah.
All he has is his word, and
his brother's record. Because
listen.
Because they're still Democrats.
Is a big liberal, so her record is completely different from mine.
But they're both Democrats.
Yeah. Well, I'm not very popular in my family because of that. Okay, so because Jews, really they value. Well, they put a pretty high price. Jews and blacks, we put a high price on voting Democrat in families. It's changing. But it's not changing as fast as the Democrat Party has. How's that?
That's true.
Yeah.
The DSA party, you mean?
That's right. So let's talk about, so this weekend, I was able to cover the National Convention for College Republicans, and it was in Tampa. It was just terrible.
Was it?
No, I'm just teasing. No, it wasn't terrible. It was wonderful.
Did you go to the beach? Oh no, obviously
I didn't. But these
are too busy doing stuff with these young men.
Fine young men and ladies there, and I'm going to tell you all about. I'm just going to tell you all about the youth vote because it is going to make a difference here in North Carolina. Byron Donalds, who is campaigning he's a congressman now. He's Trump's pick to be governor of Florida. I got to have a great interview with him. Great values. I'll tell you all about it. Kat Comack is my new friend. She is a congresswoman from Florida, also down in the Gainesville area. And I got to tell you, she's my spirit animal.
She's a great person.
Yeah. But I got to interview a ton of college Republicans. And let's look at some national trends so that we can talk about that. But I got to remove this lovely picture and let me put this one up. Hold on. Well, this is our one time where we have to.
We're live. We're live.
Okay. So overall, how important are these seats? This is, as of today, right? What's solid nationally for us? We have 180 seats, solid Republican, 210 solid Democrat. We've got 26 that are likely or lean Republican. That includes Davis's, right? And the toss-ups would be yours.
Yeah. It never used to be a toss-up. But because of the composite of this race and the timing, it's a toss-up. You can be a +5 and still be a toss-up. Crazy, but true.
Do not say that Trump is not on the ballot. Trump is absolutely on the ballot. I'm going to tell you why. They are going to impeach him and get absolutely nothing done. Trump has, albeit by executive order, done a ton of stuff. Just, Muslim Brotherhood's now on the way to being an FTO. That's huge. A lot of executive orders on parental rights and women's rights.
Birthright citizenship was his latest one yesterday, I think, or day before.
I'll look at that because I think SCOTUS ruled on partial.
Oh, they'll do something. That's why he did it. He wants it to go back to SCOTUS, and the only way he can do it, because they've already kind of made a ruling, is to take that one up again.
Okay. Well, Trump's on the ballot. So for those of you that are thinking about sitting home because Trump's not on the ballot, think again. Is Trump perfect? Hell no. But you haven't seen a
Crazy
agent.
You haven't seen crazy till you see these Democrats get in there.
You haven't seen it, so get off your ass and vote. Now, here's the Republican landscape for young men. Because Republicans in 2024 made a real gain with Republican young men. And oh, by the way, a recent survey says that young voters under 30, they're going to vote in the midterms.
And they're the largest voting bloc now moving forward because as boomers and go down, die off.
Well, I don't know at what point they will be.
This election.
Yeah.
November.
I'd love to see stats on that. I'd love to see that. Young voters 18 to 29. Harris still won, but only by 3%. Or wait, can I count 4%? That is interesting. Now, within young men, 63% of white men. Now, take that for what you will. This is just what this poll from Cirrus put out. Actually, this is an amalgamation of two different polls. The gender split is enormous. We know that. We know that. So a lot of young women are progressives. In North Carolina is one to watch because we made the biggest increase, an 8-point improvement
In
among voters, Republicans 18 to 29.
Well,
Specific.
Can you imagine if Charlie Kirk were still alive, how much bigger and broader those stats would be? I'm not saying that he had an impact, let's be real, but his organization at the time really put a lot of concentration on that.
That's interesting because it's in so much turmoil. Look,
now, but
yeah, well, it was headed that way. But I if you follow me, you know me, and I actually now. I interviewed, I'm going to tell you what I interviewed these guys about, but Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Steve Bannon,
Candace Owens,
they are a cancer, and TPUSA hasn't officially distanced themselves, but they're starting to. I think that's a good thing. So economy comes first. I'm going to give you the national stuff, then I'm going to give you what I found. Actually, I'm going to give you what I found. When I talked to these young men, it was less about conservatism. They said foreign policy is probably a distant third for them. So whatever you're hearing about Israel, etc., I wasn't hearing it. I was hearing it from some. The interesting thing is the James Fishback or the Groypers, the neo-Nazi flair of the Republican Party. They're not actually Republicans, but I interviewed 3 of them because they really wouldn't talk to me.
Did they lose their mind?
Oh, I'm going to tell you more. They would give me a full interview. I'm doing a straight interview, and they would refuse to give me their names. And they were all wearing sunglasses. I interviewed about 17 young men who were actually Rubio supporters, and said, look, we look at social media, but we're not dumb. In fact, they're more skeptical about social media and what they see than we are.
Oh, wow. Good. There's some critical thinkers there.
Right. But the guys that were supporting Fishback would not be honest. And I know we talked about this about 4 months ago. I exposed that one of the groups down there, again, I don't think they are Republican. They don't really have a good foundation of it. But there was a group called the College Republicans of America. It's a new entree group. But they were, hosting anti-Semitic speakers, etc. Well, I found that one of the key members, was doing a Nazi salute, and I just put it out there. Well, UF suspended the group. They took it to court, and they're still suspended. I saw 3 of the young men that were in leadership in that group who had wondered that did a big seminar about me at UF.
Oh, wow.
Flattered, who is Sloan Rackmuth. So I went up to them and said, I'm Sloan Rackmuth. You can ask me anything you want. And all of these young men denied supporting racism of any sort, denied supporting, saying that they wanted Indians, all of them. Kash Patel, Harmeet Dillon, and Vivek. These gentlemen were on record via their blog posts saying that Indians should leave and are less American. They denied that. And more importantly, when I said, why do you support a candidate, Fishback, who tells Black people that they should be lynched if they disagree with them? None of them said they knew anything about that. When I asked them why they supported a candidate that continuously called the Black candidate Byron Donalds a slave, or Brian Donalds a slave, they all said they've never heard of that. What I'm telling you guys is, yes, we do have a strain in our party, but racism and bigotry never survive contact with the outside world.
We've got a lot to look forward to. And look, Sloan, we actually made it almost a complete hour.
No, I'm not done, actually. We have 2 more.
You're not?
I'm not done yet. But I wanted to tell you that overall, I saw very little of that. So all these reports that you're hearing about there's a major strain, I saw very, very little of that. And I saw strong conservative males who could articulate what this party was all about. So just check this out. Economy comes first, particularly housing prices.
Yeah.
So property taxes, well, we've been talking about eliminating that. Homeowners insurance, getting that in line. These are the right battles to fight. Inflation. Where does inflation come from? Deficit spending. So I think as a party, we need to educate more on that, just like I did. So we already went over this one, actually, didn't we? Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think we are done, actually. But here's what I'm saying. We can't just let candidates talk about affordability.
No. Because you don't have affordability if you have illegal aliens taking people's jobs. You don't have affordability if you don't have, good health care that is the cost is going down because we're starting to bring prescription drugs down.
Highest cost of health care is North Carolina. Go on.
Yeah, I just think people don't understand there are interrelated issues that have to be looked at in order for those prices to go down. And one of the good things I think President Trump has done is evaluate things like, why does America not have best in class drug pricing compared to other nations? Things that we know are easy things to do or should be easy things to do. And he's actually asking the right questions to get it done.
If young voters are important, they need to be educated on what we will do for affordability. Because look, all of these young people get their news from, we all do, from X.
Instagram, X.
X was the number one platform.
Snap.
I didn't hear anyone say TikTok. I heard X, I heard Instagram, and I heard YouTube.
Yeah.
But look, we have a problem with credibility. We have a lot of influencers out there that are putting unverified bullshit.
Garbage.
Actually, Byron Donalds and Kat K-Mac, they had the same speeches. We're having a problem on where these young people go for information and who they trust. Yeah. So given that that's the case, every one of these candidates need to say, I support, lower deficit spending. Here's why that matters. We need to teach again what conservatism means, because for the last 3 years, we've had a social media diet of pure garbage. And I don't think kids know what to believe anymore.
They don't know you're absolutely right. Have you seen them quiz and they don't realize that they are 80-70% Republican, and when they find out, they're shocked?
Right. And that's why if the schools aren't doing it, which they're not, social media influencers aren't doing it, it's up to you guys on the campaign trail. When you do have the bully pulpit, you have to use it to explain the why, the what must be done and why. Stop saying affordability, housing. Exactly what and why and how it links to the Republican Party and to our values.
We have to do that too, Sloan. We have to do more of that. And I look forward to that. When are we doing this again? Thursday?
Thursday.
Are we back on? Are we kind of back on?
We're back.
Take a few.
Are we back together again?
Well, we never broke up.
We deserve
a white girl summer too.
I know. No, it's hot girl summer.
Hot girl summer. Call it what you want. Buddy's here and he says it's a hot day in the pool house.
It is the dog days of, it's literally the dog days. So guys, thank you so much. I love the comments. We are, I'm actually doing a 5-part series on the DSA and how destructive it is. And it's going strong in North Carolina.
It's scary how strong it is in North Carolina. I don't think people realize that the DSA vice chair lives in Wilmington, and he's a radical, crazy lunatic whose significant other is a professor at UNCW. Like, people have no idea what's going on. We'll have to talk about that on the next. We will.
All right. Well, have a good night, guys. It is great to be back. Let me set our outro video because we didn't have that going on. But great to be back, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
Ciao.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.